I want to bring your attention to an article that's on the web. It's called Parents File $100 Million Lawsuit in Jim Matt Death in Georgia. And obviously it's about Kendrick Johnson. It's by Victor Blackwell and Devin Sayers of CNN, and it was published July 23rd, 2015. And the reason I'm putting all these videos up is so that there's a record, because there's going to be more that's going to come out in one way or another, and it's not going to be beneficial to the Johnsons. Okay, so the parents of Kendrick Johnson claimed that there was this cabal of people in Lowndes County from all different kinds of law enforcement branches, from the school, from the city to the county, that were involved in covering up murder and then a conspiracy to hide the identity of the murderers. And so they ended up suing them. Now, what Jackie Johnson is quoted as saying in this article by Victor Blackwell, we know who killed him, we just have to prove it. They have been accusing the Bell family, a white family whose father is an FBI agent, or was at the time. They have been accusing them from practically the day that KJ's body was found, immediately, and they have never stopped accusing them, which is why they owe $300,000, they and their attorney, to the people that they falsely accused. But this happened 9 years ago, and I just want to show you who they sued and what the people who conducted the investigation say about it. Okay, they sued 37 people in their initial lawsuits, and that included deputies at the Lowndes County Sheriff's Department, at least 6 GBI agents, if memory serves, the White family that I talked about, some friends of the White family, the school superintendent. I believe they sued the coach. They might have sued some teachers, or they accused a teacher. They had City Police Chief Frank Simons, because he oversaw the Valdosta Crime Lab. They accused the city of Valdosta in the form of the city manager, and I believe they sued the mayor because they own the city cemetery, and they claimed that there was conspiracy there to keep them from holding a publicity stunt in the middle of the city cemetery. They accused the city police chief because he sent at least one, maybe more, crime scene investigator from the crime lab over to assist the Lowndes County Sheriff's Department in processing the scene. And then, to my recollection, there were 16 separate lawsuits from the Johnson family, and they all got dismissed. Either the Johnsons pulled them themselves, dismissed them themselves before it was supposed to go to the cross-examination phase, where you call witnesses and question them under oath in the courtroom. They always pulled their lawsuits before it got to that point, because basically they just wanted the publicity stunt of filing the lawsuit, and because they were trying to shake down money from at least one of these organizations to basically get them to shut up and go away. And I'm saying it that way because I have lost all respect for this family, and I no longer care about their grief because of the grief that they have purposefully inflicted on innocent people. And they've done it because they wanted money, not because they wanted justice. And I'll come back to that. I can prove some of the points I'm making. Okay, so they claimed that KJ was violently assaulted by these students, and then that their father, the FBI agent, helped cover up the body. They also accused the sheriff and the superintendent of covering up the body. All right, I want to mention frivolous lawsuits, because all of the attorneys, when these suits got filed, said this is a frivolous lawsuit and here's why. And it's frivolous because there was never any finding. The case was closed that KJ was murdered. They said there is no murder. There is no murder. And in fact, the deputy who was in charge of the investigation, he says, let me show you. He says, not only was there no murder, let me show you the evidence. Here it is. under flawed investigation, which is what the Johnsons claim. The deputy says, we examined all the alternatives that were presented to us. That means what the Johnsons were claiming. The only one that fit the physical evidence and the forensic evidence and the testimony that we received was that this was an accident. Physical evidence is anything you can see, taste, hear, smell. It's something that we use scientific instruments to extend our five senses. So anything we can record with a scientific instrument, that is physical evidence. It would be DNA analysis. It would be video analysis. It would be items that were found in or around the body, stuff of that nature. Forensic evidence, that is the body basically. That is the medical evidence. And the testimony, that is from eyewitnesses or people who were accused. That is people who saw the people who were accused. So here you have three pillars of tangible evidence, things that you can go back and look at over and over again, not just accusations. Here is real facts on the ground in front of you. All of this was given to the Kendrick Johnson family, and at this point in time, there was at least 450 pages of this evidence documented in the case file. So all of this was shown to the Kendrick Johnson family and their attorney. Their attorney knew because he had been found liable in at least one previous lawsuit, and he had to pay at least $15,000 or $30,000 in attorney's fees because he falsely accused some jail guards, and he couldn't prove what he was accusing them of. So he knew that if they got out there with a $100 million lawsuit and sued almost 40 people, that the people were not only going to claim this is a frivolous lawsuit. When the lawsuits got dismissed, these victims of the Johnsons were going to come back and say, you're going to pay our attorneys because it was wrong of you to falsely accuse us, and it's equally wrong to try to bankrupt us. Now, I believe they went after all of these people because they wanted at least one agency to write them a big check to sit down and shut up. And that didn't happen. And there's a theory in law, I guess it's called go after the big pockets. So you sue the city of Valdosta, you sue the Lowndes County Sheriff's Department, you sue the Board of Education. And these organizations or governmental institutions that have large taxpayer base, they may pay you a settlement to get you to shut up and go away. But what their attorney didn't take into account is once you start publicly accusing people of murder, then people are going to say, oh no, we are not settling with you, because then that will make us look guilty of murder. So you just lost your chance for a settlement by accusing everyone of murder. Now, if you had asked for money because of accidental wrongful death due to negligence at the school, you might have gotten some real money. But you didn't want that, or the parents didn't want that. They wanted to punish some white people. And Jackie Johnson has been going after Brian Bell ever since those two kids, Brian and KJ, got into a scuffle on the football bus. She, for some reason, hates him and hates his family, and I can show you the screenshots which prove what I'm saying. This was not, in my opinion, her seeking justice or some sort of reconciliation for what happened to her child at Lowndes High School. This was bloodlust. This was searching for vengeance against innocent people who happened to be white. And I'm going to come back to that later, because there's a whole lot more that went into this vast conspiracy of people that jumped onto the Johnsons' bandwagon and went along with them, and a lot of it came back to money. And let me just conclude here. The school had a $2 million accidental death policy, so they were more than willing to allow that policy to pay the parents of Kendrick Johnson, who obviously died in an accident at the school system. They could have paid that. So the Johnsons would have had $2 million, and the Johnsons could have filed a wrongful death lawsuit due to negligence, and they probably would have gotten some more money. But instead, they accused everyone, and I do mean everyone, of murder. And when you do that, you're not going to get anything unless you prove it, because people are not going to settle. And that's why you should have sued your attorney, Chevene King, for malpractice, because he gave you some of the worst advice I've ever seen an attorney give anyone. So there you have it. And I'll stand by what I say, and I can show you some screenshots from the Johnsons and their followers that pretty much support what I'm telling you. And take of it what you will.